Bonjour everyone, my name is Melina and welcome back to Gorgeously Vintage Atelier. For today's video, I wanted to share with you the dressmaking process of one of my favorite vintage style pattern. This is the Butterick B6590 by Gertie when she was doing patterns with Butterick. I love it so much. I already made 3 and today I will show you 3 looks from one sewing pattern. This pattern is a quick make and definitely a staple to have in your vintage style wardrobe. It has all the 1950s classic features, a full gathered skirt, a raglan sleeve and a keyhole neckline. If you are an intermediate sewist, you can easily make it in 5 hours from cutting to finishing. That being said, if you have any project suggestions, please let me know in the comments below and I would love to make something that you guys want to see. I am super excited to get started, so without further ado, let's get ready to sew! For today's project, I'm really excited because I'm going to use this really nice vintage curtain that I bought at Village des Valeurs. And as I said at the intro, I will use Butterick 6590 and I will do a view B with the full gathered skirt. So let's start by pinning some fabric and after that I will cut all the pieces and we'll get ready to sew.
When I first saw her, a black cat crossed my trail. Bad news and high heels made me go off the rails. But one look at her, she's oh so fine. I know I've got to make her mine. She's just my kind, can't get her off my mind. She's my kind of woman, I need a soul. Yeah, my kind of woman.
I always like to start by marking the darts point on each bodice pieces. Right after that, I can sew each darts on each bodice pieces. I'm doing now the 2 front pieces in a row. It's faster to do it this way and I don't use pin because I'm used to it, but make sure to use pin so your darts won't be crooked. I'm moving on by sewing the center front of the 2 bodice front pieces. This dress is particular because the 2 front pieces are not the same, so you need to be careful and make sure that you don't mix them up, especially if your fabric looks the same on the wrong and the right side. It happened to me a lot of times, so I'm giving you this tip in advance.
When there's electric in the air, you better be prepared.
And now that all the darts are sewn and the front is attached, I can move on to the sleeve. I'm now sewing the top of the raglan sleeve and I will repeat the same process for both of the sleeves.
A 5 feet of dynamite will keep me dancing through the night. You know a black cat got nothing on a lucky man. Yeah, a black cat got nothing on a lucky man.
One thing I love so much about this pattern is the raglan sleeve. Raglan sleeves are so easy to set in, it's so easy to sew. I mean, it's the easiest sleeves that you can do and it looks great on a lot of silhouette. And I like that you are not uncomfortable under the arm because you have a lot of room to move in. And for me, that's a plus with this dress.
One look at her, she's oh so fine. I know I've got to make her mine.
Let's move on to the bottom of the sleeve. It's important to be careful when sewing the underarm, mainly because it's quite a big curve and you have to make sure to not catch the dart when sewing it.
I can't let her go.
I am now repeating the same process for the other underarm sleeve.
Will keep me dancing through the night. You know a black cat got nothing on a lucky man.
to sew the keyhole neckline facing of the dress, and these pieces are quite unusual because, as I said earlier, you have two different bodice front pieces, because you have one side that the attach is shorter than the other and the other one is longer. So you need to make sure that you have cut the right pieces for the right side and the wrong side, because otherwise you will have one side that is upside down and the other side that will be correct. Even if the shape is unusual, you just attach it the same way as you will do for a regular facing. So just pin it all around the neckline and make sure that the fabric is flat underneath, and match your seam. And after that I will sew all around the neckline.
A black cat crossed my trail. Bad news and high heels made me go off the rails. But one look at her, she's oh so fine. I know I've got to make her mine. She's just my kind, can't get her off my mind. She's my kind of woman.
I am sewing the facing to the neckline as I will do for a regular facing. Just need to make sure that I'm careful in the curves and making sure that the fabrics doesn't bunch underneath the needle. This part can be quite tricky, so take your time and make sure to remove all the pins so it won't create puckers, and really take your time in this step because you want it to be perfect. The keyhole neckline is the center piece of this dress. You want it to look nice, to look smooth, and all the seam to look sharp.
Saturday night. New shirt, new shoes, no room for oversight. Well, I'll be cooler than James Dean, and she'll be hotter than Marilyn. When there's electric in the air, you better be prepared. She's my kind of woman, I need her so. Yeah, my kind of woman, I can't let her go. I'll 5 feet of dynamite will keep me dancing through the night. You know, a black cat got nothing on me.
I am clipping the curve all around, and I like to do this before understitching. This way it's easier to work through the fabric, especially the front attach, because you cannot go that far in it. So it's important to make sure that the curve will look smooth when it will be time to press it.
Trail. Bad news and high heels made me go off the rails. But one look at her, she's oh so fine. I know I've got to.
And a crucial step for a very crisp and sharp looking neckline is understitching. I cannot stress that enough. You cannot skip that step if you want your dress to look nice and professional and not homemade. You really need to understitch your facing. This way it will be way easier to press it, and it won't roll up when you wear it as well. For my favorite part, poking out the front attach with a knitting needle, and just be careful not to poke through your fabric and be gentle while doing it.
I'm gonna take her to the dance on Saturday night. Saturday night. New shirt, new shoes, no room for oversight.
Make sure to take your time to poke out all the bits and pieces. Now we are moving on to the waistband. It's quite simple. It's 3 pieces with 2 side seams, so I'm just going to sew the 2 side seams together.
I can't let her go. I'm 5 feet of dynamite will keep me dancing through the night. You know, a black cat got nothing on a lucky man. Yeah, black.
Let's attach it to the bodice. So it's quite straightforward. You just need to make sure that you identify the center front, and I like to start from there, and after that I'm matching my side seams together and pin along the way, and after that I will sew it together.
Trail. Bad news and high heels made me go off the rails. But one look at her, she's oh so fine. I know I've got to make her mine. She's just my kind, I can't get her off my mind. She's my kind of woman, I need her so. Yeah, my kind of woman, I can't let her go. 5 feet of dynamite will keep me dancing through the night. You know, a black cat got nothing on a lucky man. Saturday night. Saturday night. New shirt, new shoes, no room for oversight. Well, I'll be cooler than James Dean, and she'll be hot.
My overlocker is out of service right now, so I'm using my pinking shears to paint all the edges. But if you have an overlocker, I will suggest to use that to make sure that the fabric won't fray when you will wash your dress. I'm flipping the bodice inside out so I can see how it looks. It looks so nice, so I'm really happy with the end result. Time to move on to the skirt. I have prepared my pieces in advance and serged the top and bottom of the skirt pieces. It's like a big rectangle basically, because I decided to do a gathered skirt for this one. You just need to set your machine to the longest thread length available. On my machine it's 5, and pass through the fabric into your machine until the end of the piece. And I like to run 2 rows of gathering stitches, so this one is my first, and I will do the same 1/4 of an inch further, and this will certainly help while gathering the skirt. You just need to pull the 2 bobbin thread and run your fingers through the fabric and pull it gently. As you can see, it's already forming gathers, and you just need to run your fingers through all the length of the big rectangle, and this is how you create a gathered skirt. I will repeat the same motion throughout all the length of the fabric, and you really need to be careful with it and be gentle. because if your thread breaks, you will lose all your gathered. After your skirt is gathered, you can rearrange the gathers and fluff them up and make them look even and smoother, because when you will attach it to the bodice, you don't want it to look like bunchy gathers. You want them to look like nice and even. So make sure that they are all nice and flat and the volume is equal all the way around your waist.
And she'll be harder than Marilyn. When there's electric in the air, you better be prepared. She's my kind of woman, I need her so. Yeah, my kind of woman, I can't let her go. I'll 5 feet of dynamite.
Now that the gathers are all arranged and how you want them, you can pin the skirt all around the waistline on the bodice and pass it through the machine.
Nothing on the lucky man.
For this step, I suggest that you take your time and remove the pins as you sew. Make sure to rearrange the skirt as you are passing it through the machine, making sure that nothing is cut underneath, and arrange the gather as well. Sometimes they can get bunched up and you don't want that. So with a regular stitch length, you just need to sew all around the waistline on the bodice and the skirt, and your skirt will be attached.
5 feet of dynamite will keep me dancing through the night. You know, a black cat got nothing on a lucky man.
It is so satisfying to see all those pleats well sewn on the skirt, and when you're at this step, you know that your project is almost done. Now moving on to the zipper. I'm sewing the zipper with my preferred method on this. Usually I do a lap zipper, but this time I wanted to make it quick and easy.
Well, I'm gonna take her to the dance on Saturday night. New shirt, new shoes, no room for oversight.
This method is quite easy. You just need to press the center back seam allowance towards the interior, and after that you pin it on top of the zipper, the right side on top, and you just sew along the zipper teeth all the way to the end. And when you're at the end, you just need to be careful and leave your needle down and just pivot and sew a straight line to go to the other side of the zipper, and be careful not to catch the metal stopper, it will break your needle, so make sure to feel it with your hand. And when you're on the other side, you just need to bring the other center back and sew it just beside the zipper teeth, and make sure to mark your waistline when you're opening the zipper, just to make sure that it matches with the waistline of the dress. Easy as that. After that you are all set and you have a nice zipper that opens and closes.
When I first saw her, a black cat crossed my trail. Bad news and high heels made me go off the rails. But one look at her, she's oh so fine. I know I've got to make her mine. She's just my kind, I can't get her off my mind.
another satisfying moment when you finish with your zipper and you had any problem and you can close it and open it so easy and it looks good. Oh my god, it's the feeling of a well done project, if I'm being honest with you. We are now at the last step. Yay! We are sewing the bottom of the sleeve seam, and it's quite simple and easy. I have pressed in advance my bottom of the sleeve, and I'm just going through the machine so it's easier to sew this way. Of course, it's not a complete dress if there's not the final touch and sewing the my personalized tag, my gorgeously vintage tag. So if I ever lose this dress, everyone will know that I made it. It's such a feeling of accomplishment when you're sewing your own garments and you had your own tag. I don't know, it adds, like, it's a small touch, but I don't know, it had something special to it.
You know, a black cat got nothing on a lucky man. Yeah, a black cat got nothing on a lucky man. When I first saw her, a black cat crossed my trail. Bad news and high heels made me go off the rails. But one look at her, she's oh so fine. I know I've got to make up mine. She's just my kind, I can't get her off my mind. She's my kind of woman, I need a soul. Yeah, my kind of woman, I can't let her go. 5 feet of dynamite will keep me dancing through the night. You know, a black cat got nothing on a lucky man. Saturday night. New shirt, new shoes, no room for oversight. Well, I'll be cooler than James Dean, and she'll be hotter than Marilyn. When there's electric in the air, you better be prepared. She's my kind of woman, I need her so. Yeah, my kind of woman, I can't let her go. 5 feet of dynamite will keep me dancing through the night. You know, a black cat got nothing on a lucky man.
3 looks in 1 pattern, we did it! Oh my god, I'm so happy of how it turned out. I'm super excited to be able to share this with you. This has been one of my favorite patterns from a long time, and I'm happy to show you how easy it is to make. I would love to see if you are making one. Please tag me, and I am always amazed how the styling and the fabric of one dress can make it so much different from one another. And this is exactly the case with those 3 dresses. They are the same style but totally different look. I'm super proud of this project and I hope that you liked it. I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more vintage style sewing, and I will see you in the next video. Au revoir, my dearie!
Can't let her go.